with stereotypes, like I mentioned, you know, you come out with like my first introduction, my first love of hip hop introduction to hip hop was the Roxanne Shantays, and she's in the boroughs in New York, and she's battling people like Nas, like. And it's not about, you know, what you look like, girl. Let me see how tight your jeans are, how fat your ass is. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about, all right, I'm about to spit some words. You gonna spit some words, and we gonna keep going. Who can and flip everything off the head? So from that, then it's, you know, the Queen Latifah's an MC, like the legend, and then we come into today,
right?
Where, you know, there's only like 2 female MCs that I really respect, because again, I come from the era where they were, you know, the first females of an MC crew, you know, the Eve, and even Wu-Tang had Blueberry and all that kind of stuff. To now, you have these dudes out here and they rhyming, who knows what they doing, sorry. They mumble.
Yeah, it's a lot of mumble rap.
It's a lot of mumble rap. You don't know what they're saying. And they don't cleverly put words together.
Right.
They just, I don't know, girl, you got a fat ass, don't be last.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. That stupid stuff.
I do think that there have been some negative stereotypes, especially in the black community regarding hip hop. A good example would just be the idea of a loud, raucous, you know, like you said, Jezebel, or like just angry black women. And we see that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? We just see that in media when it comes to people like Sexy Red or Glorilla or Mulatto and things of that nature. So yeah, I agree. And I do believe that there have been some negative stereotypes within hip hop and the black community that has negatively affected us. And
today, I do realize after hearing lots of stuff, it's, you know, the industry, and it's not necessarily the hip hop industry, because remember there was a time they didn't want to hear hip hop.
Right.
You know, even Auntie Maxine, love her to death. She was like, we need to get rid of hip hop. But today, it's like, if you want to be signed, you got to be naked and show some tits and ass.
Yes.
So whereas back then they didn't do that, and it really was about your skill. So it is that big impact that messes it up, or kind of makes it different.
Yes, definitely different.
I don't want to discount the female MCs up to that, or even the men. You know, like, although now it's all about who you shot up and what drugs and how many bitches you got and all that kind of stuff. Whereas before it wasn't about that. You know, we were talking about our mamas, and I love you, mama, Tupac. You know, like it was about that. But today it's, you know, bend over, girl. Let me. Whatever.
I feel like it's kind of glorified it a little bit, like with alcohol, drugs, misogyny, I guess you could say, with women and stuff. So I feel like it's glorified it, but there's certain different cliques in hip hop, so some of hip hop is not really about that, but majority of like the mainstream of what people listen to a lot is about that. So I feel like it's an issue, but I feel like it's getting better in the sense like it's being held, like it's more knowledgeable. Gotcha. People are more knowledgeable about it, because I feel like back then people were just like, oh, who cares? Right. But now people are actually seeing the effects and the issues that it brings. So I feel like it's changing. But it's gonna take time.
It's just a mess.
It is a mess.
I'm gonna tell you the real downfall. Tupac, I could smack him in his face. And I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, when he lived in Baltimore, Ready Avenue, he never acknowledged living here in Baltimore. It's like, you know, after you graduated from the School of Arts on Cathedral Street, and him and Jayla got together and they moved west. At the end of the day, you know, here's a man was a poet.
Right.
He can write music, he can sing about his music, and all he wanted to be was a thug. I could go to his grave and just dig him up and say, you're stupid.
I feel like hip hop gives a lot of people a voice in our community, so I feel like that's a positive aspect of it, but not always. Sometimes it gives the wrong people a voice. Right. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You give people a voice, but some people don't really need to promote the stuff they're promoting. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. I just feel like we as a society need to pick out who to listen to, and to whose music is actually good to listen to. So I feel like it's a good thing.
So, for example, right, we have Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, they do a lot of marches, do a lot of protests, things of that nature, very peaceful things. But on an individual level, I think people just need to get out into the community more. They need to network more. They need to meet more people. And so that way, when we have people who are of younger age in our community, when they're looking up towards people like the Sexy Reds and Glorillaz, they understand that even though those are two very popular and famous people, especially in social media, that they're not the only people, that they might not be the best example for one person, but they can be a decent example for another person. And I just think it's the responsibility of the individual to do their own research and understand what it is that they're actually getting into. And that's how we can combat it. Because if you do the research on your own, it makes it a lot easier when you come together as a group. You can brainstorm, make ideas, and put something on a grand scale that people will remember for a long time.
The way we can do that is what we should have done forever, which is we have to own our own, record companies and ways for things to go out. Now, the internet has changed that, right? Because you can go to the internet and you can make yourself known. But unfortunately, a lot of people think, all right, for me to get famous, I need to be naked or cuss or carry a gun or be this or be that. You can't be the J. Cole's of today. He just kind of slid through, and he's a great lyricist. He's my young Jay-Z. But the way for us to control that is that we have to appreciate not only the naked people, they have their lane, do what you do, but for the people that are about lyrics, we need to show them love. Like, we need to appreciate the Wale's of the world, and we have to appreciate the J. Cole's of the world, and just all of the people that are about lyrics. So that's the only way to change it, but that's the way it should have been.
Right.
But we have to find a way to appreciate the people that don't focus on that and bring hip hop back to lyrics.